Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 8:39 a.m. on the 28th of February 2024. So it's probably going to be a fairly dark video because today is the birthday of my former paedophile concentration camp, specifically Mittelbau-Dora, surviving stepfather who was in my life from the age of 8.5 until 30. I got married at 19, so it escaped his harassment then, but he remained in my life. And was a much beloved grandfather to my children, although I never ever left him alone with them. Could not be trusted. So it was a lot of stress growing up with him and a lot of stress having him still in our lives. But, as I said, my children adored him, had no idea of what kind of man he really was. And I grew up with so much abuse that it sort of all became very normalised. But I made sure, never to leave my kids alone with him for even 5 minutes, which he even confronted me on one time when my kids were little. He come into my room and give you some lollies, so I followed it hot on their heels, and he looked at me and said, "You don't trust me." I said, "Why would I?" He just looked at me. So today is a triggering day for me. It's also the birthday of a former lover who stalked me for years around the casino, the Elephant, the Irish Murphys. And I mistakenly thought he was, had some kind of deep love for me. But no, he became more and more emotionally abusive and vicious as time went on. And eventually I decided enough was enough, and I realised that I was part of the problem because I was keeping that love alive, and it should have burnt out the first time he spoke to me like rubbish. So I grew up and I grew over it, and I'm still recalibrating from that. 4 years later, I'm still kind of recalibrating from it. It was kind of a love addiction, I'll be honest here. And I pray to all the gods that I never get lured in by a Machiavellian sadist or psychopath ever again, because those kind of love bites really are a major form of psychic vampirism, and can't be going there ever again. My friend Peter's just going past, but he's seen I'm making a video, so he's kept going, which is very, very respectful of him. Anyway, we're going out tomorrow. Peter, I'm making a video, but I just want to confirm, are we still going out tomorrow to see your mum? Yeah. Thursday? All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, whatever suits you, love. It'll have to be after midday because my cleaning lady comes till midday. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, 2:30. I'll cuddle Miss Coco tomorrow. Bye, little Coco. She's wagging her tail at the gate, not understanding why I'm not cuddling her. Oh, bless. Oh, I feel mean now. Oh, fuck it. Come on, come out with me. Come out with me and meet Miss Coco that I tell you about all the time. YouTube's going to come out and meet Miss Coco. I talk about her all the time. I could see she's looking a bit distraught there that I'm not coming out, so one must not let one's public down.
She's a hairy public.
There she goes. There's the hairy public. Come on, up you come. Oh, kisses. Oh, say hello to the people, Miss Coco. You're on candid camera. Can't get much more candid than that, can it? It's very candid. Everyone on my YouTube is all traumatised from all my real life stories. We're keeping all their therapists very, very rich. Don't forget to give me the keys to your summer apartment, psychiatrists. It'll never happen, Coco. It'll never happen. She's like, I'll buy you keys to the Riviera apartment, Mama T. I know you will. You're my best girl. Oh, you've had your kisses now. I'm being dismissed. She said, right, I'm done now. I don't like being filmed for the paparazzi. The bloody paparazzi. She says, they know way too much about you, Mama T. I know, right? I know. We're leaving a trail of broken hearts behind us, Coco. And we're leaving our story, our life histories for posterity, Coco. Because I don't have grandchildren, Coco. No, all I've got is you. Oh. She's like, I don't know, I'm not sure about, she doesn't like the camera.
No.
All right, I'm going to let you go now.
Okay.
You've had your cuddle.
Come on.
She's going to go and
Have a look around.
she's going to own sacred space. Go and own sacred space, Coco.
This way. This way. Come on. Daddy's got work to do. Come on.
Here she goes.
I want to see what's in the banana tree.
She's got a pea on the banana tree. That's good.
Pea on the tree.
Pea on bananas is good. All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow at 2:30 then.
Okay.
All right.
No worries.
Did you make a music list like I suggested to take to Mum?
I haven't, no.
Well, what's her favourite song? I'll get it up on Spotify.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I don't know if she's got
Something from the 40s or when
Uh,
was her peak happiest
one.
time?
She liked the Beatles
She liked the Beatles?
and Elvis.
All right, we won't sing Let It Go because I made the mistake of singing Hotel California to my mum, and the part where it says you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. I started crying, and my mother went, this is deep in dementia when she was barely verbal. She looked at me, her spirit came back, and she went, stop that now. It was hilarious. Dark but hilarious.
Come on.
But yeah, so you've got to be careful what particular lines might trigger something. But hey, it brought my mother back to life for a moment.
Come on.
All right. Bye, little Snooky. Bye, Snook. I love you. I love you. Yes, I do. She's probably still looking for Beauregard, you know.
Yeah.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Doesn't come back and dig it up.
Hey?
Hope doesn't come back and dig it up.
No. Can't dig them. Oh, we could dig them up. All right. Bye. I forgot that I buried them in the backyard momentarily because most of my animals are cremated. So when he said, I hope she doesn't come back and dig them up, I'm like, what? Of course he can. He can be dug up, you know. But we're not going to dig him up. He's staying right where he is, my little man. Here's my little man. My little man. It's hard to see with the glass reflection. But he's my beautiful boy. Whew. All right. Well, I thought you might enjoy seeing little Coco. One of my sweetest of hearts. One of the loves of my life, that little doggish goddess. Right, what's happened to my laptop? Decided to go to sleep on me. I can't remember what I was talking about before then. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you, the other lovely news is I'm definitely going dancing again on Friday night in spite of my upset over crazy ball guy last week. and me losing my temper. I guess I just got to keep doing what I always do, not let one motherfucker grind me down, right? Number one, it's my usual practice is to keep intrepidly doing what I do, no matter what, no matter who. Motivation number one. Motivation number two, Ramjet are playing, and I like Ramjet as much as I like Alter Egos, and enjoy them very much. And I like my friend Juddy, and I like Ness, and I like Nathan, and yes, can't remember who the drummer is, but I like them too. It'll come to me. Oh, Liquor. So I like them all. I'm a very happy dancing queen. What's happened to my necklace? Right, we're all sorted. Very happy dancing queen. Not that I'm a queen, you know, but vibe with me, people. And I'm old enough to be a queen. So the other happy news was I received messages from my friend Laura. I call her Michaela, but she's asked me to call her Laura, so I'll have to retrain my brain. Now I call her by her first name, Laura. And she asked if she could come out dancing with me on Friday night, and she lives quite close to me, so I offered to bring her in my car and we'll dance to the rock music. Apparently she really loves rock music too. So we'll dance wildly and joyously, and I'll do her the power of good, because she's got a little 3-year-old and doesn't get out much. So we'll do her good to let her hair down, be a wild woman for the night. She's from Romania originally, so like me, she has the ancestors are in our Slavic blood, call for us to dance and be joyous and be wild and free. So yeah, hopefully she enjoys it as much as I do. I'm sure she will. She's so cute. She says, "I'm going to wear my AC/DC t-shirt." I said, okay. And she's so excited, and I'm looking forward to dancing with her, actually. It'll be good fun. And because my usual practice is I go alone, but it doesn't hurt to go out with a woman friend occasionally, you know. If she likes it, she might come out with me more often. So, well, not if she likes it, I'm sure she will love it there, because I really enjoy going there and dancing and, yeah, letting it all out with my wild mosh at the end of the night. So, anyway, let us begin. We're 13 minutes in, and that's just my usual preamble. But yeah, I'm feeling happy today. I slept a little bit better. I was still up quite a bit during the night, but I must have got some deeper sleep in, because I'm still kind of just under the edge of exhaustion. You can tell by my bags under my eyes, but I feel less heavy as I did yesterday. Yesterday was really quite an icky day. But as I say, we're entering now what I call in my personal life the 10 days of awe. Case's birthday today, and then in early March, my father's death date, my mother's death date, my father's birthday. His death date and his birthday are within 3 days of each other. Then the following day, my mother's yahrzeit anniversary of her death. Then the day after that, my grandmother's yahrzeit. So I feel usually really heavy and suffocated by my personal progenitors. But this year I'm trying to feel, I think it'll be different, because I've processed it a lot over the years, and I've grieved a lot, and I feel lighter this year, you know. Yesterday I was heavy, heavy, but I had a very, very bad night. So there was that. So I think things are starting to, what I'm saying is things are starting to look up. I'm less mired in ancient griefs that go nowhere, and I'm looking forward to more happiness and more healing and more lightness of being, and, you know, eventually inviting my truly loving partner into my body, mind, spirit complex, the right man in the appropriate time, brought to me. Literally, he will be brought to me by the gods, by the Holy One, because I put that prayer out. Don't bring me any more dud motherfuckers. And I'm nurturing the love, the precious, deep love I feel for my sweet platonic friends, and I'm very happy with that too, the sweetness and the kindness. So, yes, today's offerings, readings, musings, scribblings is entitled Rising and Shining. And couldn't think what photo of my own to post up, so I posted a photo of a woman in a nightclub holding a balloon. Can't really more describe rising and shining than that, babies. 28th of February 2023. The new anvil works great. I cleaned the rust off with Rust Converter and gave it a good scrub. I sanded it back with my orbital sander. Then I got to work flattening the copper pipe. But work got sidelined by the arrival of a very unexpected visitor. A carpet snake slithered under the mini trampoline and was staring right at us being myself and my dog Beauregard. I got a bit of a fright when my brain realised it was a snake and not one of the resident blue-tongue lizards. Bobo barked at it in a frenzy, and I yelled at Bobo not to go near it. It was on for young and old. I made a video of it before it slowly slithered back under the bromeliads. I called Peter, that was that gentleman I've been out to chat to with his little dog Coco, to catch it, but we couldn't find it. He was trying to scare it out, but no dice. No snake personage, snake personage is probably still under there, and I am so worried about him or her eating my Charlie bird that I have her on my shoulder. I will have to keep a close eye on her in the garden now. I think Snake came out because it sensed the vibrations of me hammering the copper pipe. Or it might just have been after Charlie, who is the perfect size snack for a carpet python. Either way, eek! And here's a photo of me smashing on my new anvil, which is a piece of steel that my other friend Peter, Lynn's husband, gave to me to use as an anvil. Thank you, Peter. And there I was busily smashing copper pipe to make bangles, which only one sold to a friend and neighbour down the road. So ironic that. But never mind. I keep trying, people. I keep trying. Then I posted a video of my snake visitor, which is up here on YouTube. So you'll have to scroll back on all my YouTube videos to find it. Can't remember what the title of it was, but it was from last year, 2023, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. And it's actually delightful. You can see the snake reaching up and climbing up. up onto the table and looking for Charlie, who wasn't in her cage, thank goodness, and then turning and looking at me kind of in disgust because Snake realised that the bird was with me, and I worried that she might lunge at me, so I backed up very, very quickly. But it was a very unusual encounter, but as all my encounters are with people and sometimes animals, it was quite spiritual and potent. I swear to God that creature was smiling at me, even when she was under the mini trampoline. Before I realised she was a snake, when I first saw her, I thought, oh, it's a blue tongue staring at me. She was just staring at me and smiling. And the energy coming off her was very calm and serene and peaceful. She was like a very friendly snake. Also, let's face it, after my bird, but she was very friendly and sort of curious and looking at me, and then she poked her tongue out. And when I saw it was a forked tongue and not a blue tongue, I went, fuck, it's a snake. Anyway, because she was a python, she wasn't venomous, but she could have given Beauregard a nasty bite. But anyway, he was quite brave, barking at her. I was like, get away from her now. And she was conscious that I was actually protecting both her and Beauregard in that moment. Anyway, I do kind of worry leaving Charlie out there on her own, out free, because the snake could come back, right? Or some other snake could take her, but... So, yeah, I don't tend to leave her out too long without me being, invisibility, but, you can't worry about everything in life. You just have to live your best life. Then I posted another video on YouTube showing Peter catching her, which was amazing. Very amazing. 28th of February 2021. And here's me looking happy, smiling and looking quite pretty there. Sometimes I can look quite attractive. Only sometimes though. Sometimes I look like hell on earth too. Depends on my mood, I suppose. I guess that's true of any other human on planet Earth. We have our good days and we have our bad days. I'm actually up out of bed early this morning and functioning by making this video, which is unusual. Even Peter's sort of looking at me a bit strangely, because I don't normally get up, before 9 or 10. Here's this beautiful woman. I think she's from, I'm not sure, but I think she might be from Indonesia, or anyway, all the tattoos. And it says, great warriors, great warriors are not always men. High five on that one, sister, although she's not my sister, grandmother, wise one. I don't know why, but the water tastes a bit salty. Why would that be? Haven't taken my medications yet because I don't take them till 10. There's funny tingling sensation in the water. They've probably poisoned our water again, people, so if this video gets cray-cray later, it's not me, it's whatever they're lacing our water with. Jesus. I need to buy a water purifier because I'm highly suspicious. You can taste it. It's practically fizzing. There's no reason for it to fizz. I haven't put any soda stream in it. It's just plain water out of the fridge. So that's a bit astonishing. There's no bicarb soda in it either. Anyway, what can I say? They're culling us in all sorts of sneaky little ways. I don't trust our water supply. I get paranoid, I know, but I really don't trust them anymore. Our governments, they're capable of anything. After this, they're capable of anything. That was your evidence right in front of your eyeballs on a daily basis for 4 years. People still wouldn't listen to me, and there was nothing I could do. Had to just sit back and watch it all unfold. It was horrific, people. 28th of February 2020, Charlie wants kisses. I see I have a new subscriber who's terribly excited, and I might remind you, people of Earth, this is not a dating agency. You're welcome to watch my videos. You're welcome to see my old face every morning or evening, and I realised yesterday might have been a bit provocative because I made my video in my sarong and I didn't care. But I'm not doing this to seduce or excite you or stimulate you in any way, and I'm not responsible for your sexuality in any way. So just putting it out there, keep it respectful, or you will be, well, I don't know how to remove a subscriber anyway, but you know, this is a general thing, not aimed at that one person, but in general. Keep it respectful, please. These are both, deep, as I said earlier, deeply traumatizing videos talking about my life history here on planet Earth and my experience of almost 59 years. And some people get a bit carried away with it, just saying. You need to calm your farm and honour the divine feminine. Even if in this version of it, I am a bit, plumpety and well endowed in certain aspects of my being. It's all just chocolate and hot chips, so there's nothing to get overly stimulated about, gentlemen. Where was I? We're in 2020, so 4 years ago now. I had my debrief just now. My doctor says it must be deeply disturbing and frustrating that just when my mental health has become somewhat more balanced and stabilised, that my physical health should have fallen into such dramatic decline. It's just not fair. No, it is not. Nevertheless, a certain warrior goddess will soldier on as long as she can, and so I have. Why is that hanging upside down? I think if I can overcome my serious health issues, then perhaps I might just have a goodly life after all. After my session, I walk with Beauregard up to Pet Barn to buy cat biscuits. Bobo gets thoroughly spoiled with treats by the wonderful staff there. His happy place. Then we walk back to the car. I begin to drive down the driveway. I see my gorgeous, wise psychiatrist walking slowly towards me. I wind my window down, cheekily say to him, "Stay away from the crazies, doctor," giggling. He replies, "Please don't run me over." I reply calmly, "Never. I promise I will be good. We laughed together, then I drove home. He had told me that I'm single because there are too many dickheads out in the world, especially in my small pond of available men. And I need someone intelligent. I tell him, yes, intelligent, also kind, decent, with integrity. No more fuckery, no more narcopaths, borderlines, or personality disorders. I must not settle for any more evil dickheads. Maintain my warrior goddess status. Alone, but intrepid. Manifest joy even in my single general mishigas. Mishigas is Yiddish for craziness. Winky face because I'm actually not crazy at all. Astonishing but true. Here I posted a article, heartstrings, tendons inside the human heart. Here's some photos of what they actually look like, or a photo of what they actually look like. Scaffolding holding us together, right? Dear goddess. In biology, we dissected a heart, and our teacher told us the heartstrings can sometimes break after a deep emotional trauma, causing the heart to lose form and as a result be unable to pump blood effectively. You could literally die from a broken heart. It's called broken heart syndrome. And yes, that has happened to quite famous people, writers and poets over the years that have died that way. There was one specific writer, a woman, can't remember her name now, but she died of broken heart syndrome. And I write here, I literally heard a loud pop inside my heart after my separation from my husband. It wasn't that I was still in love with him, but it was the viciousness and the horror of it all. It was so savage, that divorce. It was the ugliest divorce you could ever imagine, which is why I will never marry again. It's not the marriage I fear, it's the fucking divorce. My God, awful it was. It was a strange kind of grief, as he had literally tried to kill me, paid someone to rough me up, who attacked and strangled me. Awful, but I survived even that horror. Still in 2020, I finally received a letter about the pelvic mesh, the TVT tape. I received in October 2007, far out. I don't have any major complications apart from nerve pain in my thighs and legs and difficulty walking some days, the usual chronic fatigue and pooling with my bladder, which has only started happening again in recent years. Some days I am okay though. I do feel chronically unwell, although the pamphlet states there is no evidence that it causes an autoimmune disease. I call bullshit on that one. Anyway, I won't read the letter out to you. It's posted up here on Vocal Media. Advice how to seek treatment. You go to seek treatment and you discover your patient file's been thrown out, so they can't cross-reference any of your urology reports, so you get no treatment And 12 months later, I'm still waiting. I mean, I'm on this mirabegron drug now, which is not working, but I'm still waiting to find out if they're going to do the Botox in my bladder or not, and what further treatment options they're going to offer me. And meanwhile, I'm slowly dying of this, right? Well, I'm not dying, like, as in, I thought I was going to die, quite frankly, last September, but I'm not dying just yet. Apparently my urologist was able to confirm that my bladder's relatively healthy. It's just constant nerve signaling that's causing this. But bear that in mind, it's very debilitating. I'm in a constant state of deep exhaustion from the constant getting up all night. And, this has been going on now for more than 8 years, so it feels like dying, even though technically it's not dying. Anyway, I soldier on, and I live my best life, and I go dancing on Friday nights and revivify myself for my zombie walk the rest of the week. And I make my videos, and I'm doing my best to live triumphantly and joyously as I have always done, but some days are worse than others. Yesterday was fucking hard. So, update 28th of February 2023. So you can imagine my disgust and horror when I finally presented, because I distrusted them all through the COVID epoch, still do. Finally presented at the emergency department of the QE2 hospital on 8th of January 2023 that I discovered my entire QE2 hospital patient file is now missing, which, by the way, doesn't even happen to career pedophiles and serial killers, by the way, but they did that to me and other women involved in the Johnson & Johnson TVT tape claim against Johnson & Johnson and the other malfeasant dogs that invented this bladder-altering, life-altering irritant constantly slung and attached to our physical forms that cannot be removed completely by surgery because you can't get all the fibres, and it just scar tissue forms over and just keeps growing to something ugly, right? Thanks for that. Thanks for that, QE2. If you'd given me informed consent and told me that that was a risk, I would not have gone with that. You could have fixed my bladder the old-fashioned way, which takes longer and a bit more skill, by the way, but you sold us the easy way out, not telling us what the risks were. Evil is what it is. The ED doctor was unable to compare my urology reports or offer treatment for my then bladder inflammation, which had lasted a week, hence I sought treatment. Sent me home to die. His words to me were, "Go home and just live your best life, Tanya. We can't do anything for you," pointing the bone at me, and had me convinced for the previous 12 months that I was in fact dying. So last year was a very difficult year, compounded on top of my already serious complex PTSD issues. So what did this dying Mama T do? Kept living and dancing and loving her true beloved ones. And then I lost Beauregard, and that threw me down to the abyss for a few months, but here we are, still fighting on every day, as I do, because I'm a warrior goddess. I have still not received any answers from that hospital as to where my patient file is. Complete malfeasance and incompetence. No, it's not incompetence. It was a deliberate act. So it's complete malfeasance. I did receive my operation reports, 3 pages, from Shine lawyers who are completing a class action in regards to that TVT tape, which interestingly that class action has since been taken out of their hands because of their greed and corruption, is now under some other lawyers, and I'm waiting for a small amount of compensation to arrive sometime this year. waiting. I bet you they drag that out as long as they possibly can too. It's all evil and corrupt and disgusting, but eventually the money will come. They have to pay it out by, it's mandated by court orders, so the money will come, but they'll just drag it out till enough of us die that they don't have to pay as much out, right? They did that to the men with the Hardy case with the asbestosis and the mesotheliomas, by the way. That's how rotten our society truly is. Never ever forget. Never ever forget. That's why I make these videos, to remind you, don't trust your government, don't trust lawyers, don't trust anyone but the ancestors that love you, the gods of your understanding and your own self, and learn to be trustworthy to your own self by speaking your truth every day and every night, knowing what your truth is, what your reality is, so that you can trust yourself. Because if the time comes when you can't even trust your own motivations, inclinations, thought processes, emotions, gnosis, then, my friends, it's a very, very sad state of affairs. Because if you can't trust yourself, you can't discern all the other evil motherfuckers cycling around us in our world at every opportunity, trying to take us down. Know thyself. It's a very ancient admonition from some philosopher way back in Roman times. Know thyself. Stand in your own authority and body autonomy and be courageous. Be courageous, my beloved ones. Hold your line. Hold the line. And love yourself and each other enough so that if need be, you can go into protector mode and keep those around you who are sensible enough to listen to sound advice in better health. I'll just put it that way. I'll repeat again. I did receive my operation report, 3 pages, from Shine lawyers who are completing a class action in regards to that TVT tape. Just reading through those was harrowing. It was a very intense surgery which caused me to have a very bad bladder infection, so my recovery in that hospital was difficult, to put it mildly. There was also significant systemic abuse, predatory behaviour by a male nurse, lack of sufficient care. I needed lots of bag changes for my urine output, but was left soaking in my own urine. And a nurse remarked, a female nurse, mind you, "I'm just checking on the poor bitch in here," which I overheard and called her out on, referring to me as the poor bitch. So unprofessional they were. QE2 hospital. Evil beyond words. In the end, my friend, who is a forensic psychiatric nurse, threatened the entire nurse station with the Health Rights Commission as she saw how poorly I was being treated after a very major surgery, which involved hitching up my bladder with that TVT tape, a vaginal repair after a prolapse, and pulling out my uterus through the vaginal cavity. Basically 3 surgeries for the price of one, all done in the one go while they were up there, right? Not pleasant. Only to be abused by nursing staff afterwards. Disgusting it was. If I'd been married to an engineer or a doctor, by the way, they would not have dared treat me like that. So it was othering as well. It was absolutely evil. 28th of February 2018. I woke up feeling okay, but after reading the article about Argonaut in Australia, I was hammered by a deep fatigue, so had to lie back down on my bed. Argonaut is women in the Jewish religion who are unable to get a divorce. It mainly happens in Orthodox Judaism, where the husband will withhold the divorce, and in religious law, you can't get a divorce unless your husband agrees to it. So there are many, many women, particularly in Israel and America, some in Australia, who are forever chained to some man by marriage, even if they're not together anymore. And they're not free to remarry because they can't remarry in the Orthodox Jewish religion without the divorce. So, you know, if they get into a relationship and they have children, their children are considered mamzerim or bastards because they're not divorced from their previous husband. These husbands were usually highly abusive in the first instance. That's why they had to leave, right? And then on top of it, to not be able to get the divorce, it's a psychological torture on these women. It's actually very, very cruel and sadistic and low grade and harrowing. But I got my Jewish divorce and my civil divorce. So technically I've been married twice and divorced twice to the same man. But no regrets about the divorcing, by the way. Not one little bit. Flashbacks of my horrific divorce and all the abuses that came along with it and after it. Crystal read through my ancestry and told me she's going to write a play about our grandmother and great-grandmother. That never happened. Awesome. I think she is trying to heal the family curse of abuse and or trauma and poverty, but some of that was exacerbated by war. My grandparents were actually millionaires before the Reichsbank collapsed in 1929. But some of that was exacerbated by war, and some of it was just plain old narcissism and psychopathology. So it will be hard to unpack it all. At any rate, I am pleased she is finally facing our own primordial hags, which will help her understand who we are, where we came from, and what we might be able to transmute to have better relationships and happier lives. Be'ezrat Hashem, by the will of God. We heal ourselves to the 10th generation before us. So mote it be. Amen. V'salah. Our curse stems on both sides. On both sides of the family line, right? But our experience of it is mostly via Gisela and her ancestors. Witches, actual witches. Well, her biological father, Antoni Patula, was a powerful mage, i.e., the real McCoy. Anton came through a psychic once to tell me he is sorry, over and over again, sorry. At the time I said he had nothing to apologise to me for. I never even met him. But I believe now he meant he was sorry for the awful character flaws my mother inherited. Greed, narcissism, violence, treachery, elitism, etc. Maybe if he had lived in my generation, he might have protected me, as he tried to protect Gisela from Eva. Or maybe, like everyone else in that family, he would have sold me down the river Styx and looked on while I struggled to survive the dragons and demons and halitosis, hounds of hell. Who knows? I know one thing, I am better than all of them. I stood up to fight for and protect them in old age, even after all the bullshit they had done to me as a child and later on in adulthood. I am a fucking authentic, amazing, loving, powerful and worthy woman. Sorry, they never realised that. Today was Cornelis Kees van der Grefts. I say Greft, but it's actually Greft. But I'm not Dutch, so I have trouble rolling the R's and the G's. Grefts. Anyway, he was a cunt, so let's forget about him. But we can't because it's his birthday today. Today it was his birthday. He died in November 1995. So much time has passed. Some wounds will never heal, but some have been transmuted into a different kind of pain. The pain of being raised by a concentration camp survivor, gambler, womanizer, child abuser, narcissist. The pain of not being raised by good, kind, safe people. Nothing can be done to change my childhood, but I can do something about the rest of my life. Freedom from perverted oppressors. It's been a long, hard journey to my own becoming. Later in life, he tried to forge a better relationship with me. He began to understand the immense damage that my mother, continued to foster. He would sneak around to my apartment with a chocolate-covered Gugelhupf, which is a kind of cake, German, Austrian cake, that he would buy in a coffee shop in Wellington Point called Tanya, spelt with a J. That's, I think, is still in business too. Was that the coffee shop was literally around the corner from where he and my mother lived. So it was literally a gift from Tanya to Tanya, if you get my vibe, the lateral thinking there. It was very sweet of him in a way. To visit me and my girls. I never left him alone with my girls as he was a predator. But I was touched by his wanting to see us, even if it meant doing so behind my mother's back. Because I guess I was touched because although he was and had been during my childhood a predator constantly sexually harassing and hounding me and terrorising me, really. He's family. He's my family. He's lived with my mother for 23 years until his death. And so it's complicated, people, when you're raised by monsters. The alliances and the allegiances and the loyalties and family and love gets very tainted and very fucking disturbed, and the lines get blurred. But I never left him alone with my babies. I knew better than to do that. That was the last 2 years of his life. He had prostate cancer, which developed into bone cancer. When he died, he looked emaciated, like he had just been liberated from Mittelbaldora. And it struck me that it was twice in his lifetime when fate had starved and gnawed away at his bones and soul. It was also karma for terrorising me as a child with his sexual advances. I survived him and Trevor Singh's predation. I survived my father and my mother's violent acting out, which was constant, by the way, and my sister's betrayal. My half-sister, because we have different fathers. Some days I still wish I had died, but I am here, up on my feet, finding joy in small things, dreaming of a comfortable, peaceful, loving life, and manifesting healing moment by moment. I have come a long way. So happy birthday, Uncle Case. Play some claviers with your seedy friends up in heaven, and cheat, of course. He was a bookie. He used to cheat them, and that's how he paid for his, and I continue on. So you can go on a cruise and seduce lonely or vulnerable women. I can hear him saying, "Och doch Mensch," but it's the truth. As he lay dying, my bastard mother lashed out at him. "Where are the dancing girls now, Case? And I have your car now. What are you going to do? Get up?" Jared and I were horrified. We clung to each other, sobbing in shock and grief, laughing at my mother's monstrous cruelty. It was a harbinger of how viciously she would treat me after Case's death. No buffer, no moderator, no filters. Case was a peacekeeper in an atrocious war of the narcopath. I had loved him for that. But ultimately, he never had my back, and we were all played off against each other like an old-fashioned pinball machine. So, fuck you, Case, and David, my father David, Trevor, my pedophile godfather, Angela, my half-sister, and last but most dangerous, Gisela. You all tried to kill me. I won the booby prize. But let's eat. I became the dancing warrior goddess of light in the night, the woman of honour and integrity, and your gifts of poverty and trauma created me. I turned out just grand. After decades of abuse, I got angry enough to fight for myself. Each time society bet me back down, so I have not come far in life, but I am alive and fierce and free. Better than all the houses and gold. Where are the dancing girls, Gisela? Right here. And I always say one of my most favourite and potent sayings is, the best revenge is happiness. It's also a dish served cold. But happiness, people. Surviving to thriving. Being your best version of yourself, no matter how awful your circumstances are. And striving to be happy in spite of all of it. All of it. Here I post a photograph of my fish pond, which I love my fish, my goldfish and mine. Until September 2019, I had 4 beautiful ponds here. One was a hydroponic pond which grew vegetables and was lovely. They tell you to have these garden awards in your garden, invite judges to come and judge your garden on the one hand, and they strip you of all your beautiful fish ponds on the other. The malfeasant dogs there at Buranda housing. Yes, you dogs. But anyway, shameless they are. They need to paint my house too. I'm going to start going to war about that. When I get better with my bladder and I have the psychic energy to fight yet again, I'll be fighting about that. This house needs upkeep, it needs painting. I painted that arm, it needs redoing now, but it says, it's a quote from Stevie Smith, I'm not drowning but waving. And on the other side I wrote the quote from another poet which responded to her that says, I'm not waving but drowning. I think it was the other way around. I think she wrote, I'm not waving but drowning. So someone responded, I'm not drowning but waving. There's an ever slight antithesis to that. Anyway, I have almost drowned as a child, came very close to drowning. A few times actually, but one particular time I was sitting on the bottom of the ocean watching the bubbles, which was the last of my breath leaving my body, and just kind of watching the sun shining through the ocean. It was a beautiful day, and just there was this moment of peace when I knew I was about to die, and this hand literally reached down and pulled me up by my hair and dragged me out, and that was my friend Lynn Robertson, who'd realised that I was not surfacing and rescued me. I actually had forgotten about that event. It's one of my many near-death experiences during childhood. For some reason I'd forgotten, but when she reminded me of it, I remembered that exact moment of just literally feeling my little bottom on the sandy floor and watching all this light shining through and thinking, oh, this is so beautiful, and I've run out of breath, so this is it. And the peace, I did not have a peaceful, safe childhood, people. The peace was so fucking seductive. And yet again, my angel sent me my friend Lynn to haul me out and gift me longer continuance on this planet. So it's kind of astonishing that I'm almost 59 in April. Very, very fucking astonishing at times. I'm even amazed by my own strength and mana to survive my own ill health and the attacks on my body, both through strangulations, but also the drownings, the child sexual abuse, the diseases I had during childhood, which verily I was written off and told, my mother was told I was probably going to die. And here I am, still kicking on. So, never fuck with the Tanya. I have someone powerful that wants me on this planet, even against my own will at times. 2018, hair washed and brushed, ready to go see my beloved psychiatrist for my regular debrief. I look more beautiful now at nearly 60, and back then 50. 2018 was 6 years ago, so 53. I look more beautiful now in my 50s and almost 60 than I did as a young woman married to my husband. I looked very old before my time in that marriage. Very, very old. "28th of February 2017. Hair done today." I won't bother posting it again. I mean, it's a nice enough photo, but you saw what I looked like in 2018. You see what I look like today. It's like moving on. 28th of February 2016. My birthplace. Wellington, New Zealand. It's a beautiful day out there today. Come along to the waterfront at 1 p.m. to the jumping platform, they stated. This is Wellington on a windless sunny day, which are rare events in Wellington. It is the most beautiful place on earth. But try getting a windless sunny day, people. It smells different to here too. It's crisp and clear, and you can almost bite into it. It's so crisp. When I arrived in December 2004, first time I went back home to New Zealand after arriving here in 88. And it was I was struck by how different it smelled, the environment and the air. And when I got off the plane, when I returned here in early January 2005, again my olfactory senses were just slammed with the smells of the subtropics and the frangipani and the eucalyptus, and I almost fainted from the amazing aromas that just slammed my senses. But it is beautiful here, the way it smells in summer, but it's different to New Zealand. Very, very different. I do miss those long twilights and spectacular sunsets. And yes, daylight saving. Here's another photo. twilights in summer in Wellington last for almost 3 hours, just slowly watching everything descend. It was the most beautiful thing. I had forgotten it, because here twilight lasts about 5 minutes, just because the sun goes down. Oh, the sun's going down, people. You barely have time to admire the sunset, and it sinks beneath the horizon. But in Wellington, when I went home, I was staying with my sister and half sister and brother-in-law, and that was quite often unpleasant. She made it so unpleasant, but anyway, never mind. But I would spend the evenings standing there, looking out to the west in their window, just staring and staring. And mind you, I was very unwell in those days. I was on very hefty psych meds. I was very, very fat, 103 kilos, and drilled and shuffled. And I think that's partly why she was so savage to me, because she was embarrassed having a fat, mentally unwell sister come and stay with her. It was just awful how I was treated. But anyway, so I'd be standing there staring at these twilights, meditating, looking at the twilight. And my brother-in-law Grant would come and say, what are you looking at, Tanya? I said, the twilight. He said, but it's there every night. And I went, and every night it is just as exquisite as the night before. So if you don't mind, I'm going to continue looking at it for as long as I can. He said, but why? I said, because we don't have twilights like that in Brisbane, Australia. And I hadn't realised that I had missed it, had not consciously clicked on it, how very, very different it was. So he thought I was a bit nuts, of course. Well, they always made me out to be crazy. It's how they demonised me and my family, how they justified the sexual abuse and the enablement and the building a family with predators, right? It's easy for them to say I was crazy than to say what was actually going on and maybe seek justice and protection for this little girl. The cowardly fucking dogs. But anyway, I stood in her home and I enjoyed the sunset and the twilight. At the end of the day, it's all that was left out of that ravaged fucking home life. My mother, nature, earth, the only true parents I'll ever have. Father, sky, Mother, earth, and Tangaroa, the god of the sea. Those were my parents. Even though the sea god almost drowned me on a few occasions, but that too would have been a kind of a bliss in the end, ultimately. But here we are, living life beautifully in spite of all of it. Told you today was going to be heavy, but it's also beautiful and courageous. Never ever forget my mana, my spiritual power as a woman. Today was my first stepfather's birthday. This is written in 2018. Were we up to 2018? Sorry, I'm so tired. I just move in and out. I'm moving in and out because it's also triggering for me to have these memories of that family of origin and their viciousness. 2016 we were at. So in 2016, I write, today was my first stepfather's birthday, Cornelis van der Greft, a survivor of Mittelbau-Dora, a narcissist, a womanizer, complete with carefully coiffed hair and cravat, a child sexual abuser, a gambler, a bookie, amongst his following of fellow Dutchmen with, pardon me, more money than sense, as he made money. I don't know why I've got indigestion, people. I haven't eaten yet today. It's ridiculous. Must be the medication, which I have to take shortly. Sorry, where were we? Amongst his following of fellow Dutchmen with more money than sense, as he made money from his friends, like taking lollies from babies, and which I used to find deeply amusing, by the way. And their gambling addictions were so great, they were mostly grateful and happy to do so. In fact, they would often beg him, please can we have a game of clavius, please can we have a game? And he would just laugh at them. His own friends, he just saw them as fodder for his, paying for his cruises each year. He really was a predator, even on his own friends. I mean, he didn't sexually predate on them, thank goodness, but he milked them for everything they had. And they willingly gave it, because they were gambling addicts. He would have picked them very carefully from the Dutch club, his targets, who had money and who had issues and who he could manipulate and milk for everything they have. And he would do it so charismatically and charmingly that they would love him for it. A true narcissist. Oh, you almost have to laugh, except it's not funny. But that's how I was raised, people, with people like that. It's astonishing. I had an astonishing childhood. Really astonishing. Apart from the epic tantrums which they lost often, and piling up my mother's beautiful table with cigarette butts in the ashtrays, perving leerily at me, trying to convince me they were good men, lol, screwing one of my mum's best friends behind their loving wife's back in our front lounge room, after only meeting her for 5 minutes, no less. Oh, that was awkward and a tad astonishing and hilarious. I was 14. I was like, Mum, I think they're fucking in the front lounge. Don't go in there, Tanya. Yeah, Mum, they're definitely screwing. Mum, I can hear the moans. Don't go in there, Tanya. Oh, I wanted to go in there. I wanted so to go in there and raise bloody hell. But I didn't. Because I actually was quite fond of Bert and Auntie Ingrid. Auntie Ingrid, the world's biggest nymphomaniac. Oh, dear goddess. You have to laugh about it now. It kind of wasn't funny at the time. A secret I was forced to keep to protect the sweet, docile wife and mother of 8 children. She was a lovely woman, his wife. She really was. I was very fond of her. The friend, Bert, who Kees referred to by his Dutch name, Bertus, a jovial, always laughing chap, so in a way, a likeable larrikin bastard, one of the few of Kees's friends we actually truly liked, so we all kept his secret. Bert, he was lovable, so lovable. Ask Auntie Ingrid how that went for her. Oh, well, they had a great time, the two of them. Morals of alley cats. My dear goddess. My childhood. It's astonishing. Mum's friend, a notorious nymphomaniac, so really, fucking was her hobby. My mother's other best friend, Erica, was a Dutch-German woman born on the border, a well-educated daughter of an ambassador who married a merchant banker, had a son, and when that marriage failed, became a dominatrix. I shouldn't laugh. She was a sweetheart to me, actually, Auntie Erica. She was very kind to me. So was Ingrid, but I lost a lot of respect for Ingrid that day. Fucking Bert, after only basically, hello, how are you, looking into each other's eyes, get up from the table and go into our front living room. We had 2 living rooms, one in which my mother stored all her beautiful, exquisite china and crystal collection, and the other where we actually sat and watched TV with Case. So she would entertain her friends in her living room, which was opulent and almost looked like Louis Cannes, type boudoir. It was not a boudoir, but had a couch and a little fountain. And look, it was exquisite. She got inspired when she went to Versailles, so there was that. But it was exquisite. But for the love of all the gods, Mum was even more upset that they went to fuck in her living room because, all that frenetic activity. She was worried they might break some of her china. Oh, you have to laugh. And they didn't disrespect Case's living room. Oh, well, anyway, they had a good time, those two. That's all I have to say about that. She offered to teach me everything she knew when I was just 18 and announced my engagement. She declared, "When your marriage fails, and it will, I know you, Tanya." This is how I was spoken to as a new fiancée, all starry-eyed with rose-coloured glasses and my own adolescent stupidity. Instead of taking me aside saying, "Do not get married to that fucking idiot because your life will be ruined," they did it in this backhanded way of saying, "Oh, don't worry, when it's all over, we'll look after you." Well, they didn't, did they? They didn't look after me. They sunk the boot in even deeper. Well, my mother did. But anyway, she actually said this. "When your marriage fails, and it will, I know you, Tanya. Come and see me, and I will teach you the trade. You will have plenty of money and never suffer being alone, as like me, you will go home to your own bed with your own pussies, and no man will ever run your life or destroy you." That was her future plan for me that was going to manifest, right? They didn't know that I'm both a warrior goddess and a love goddess, and that I would spend the rest of my life falling in and out of love with fucking monsters, and I verily, verily should have taken her advice, but there was no one to guide me, right? She was half right. I do go home to my dog and pussies, but like a fool, I chose to be respectable for the past 50 years, and I still let men fucking annihilate me. Only the ones I fall in love with. Ha ha ha. So the last man I loved recently declared me psycho, and to rebel against my loyal, steadfast adoration, pashes off the casino nymphomaniac right in front of me. Both cunts. But, I don't need him. I want him. This is back in 2016 when I was still in love with that idiot, right? what an idiot I was too, to love such a fucking idiot. It's embarrassing, people. But you're getting it from my lips to God's ears, right? My own becoming, growing out of that horror. But now I see he has devalued himself to get free of me, debased himself to hurt me. Wow, he shares Case's birthday, a lot in common. He may not abuse children, although I wouldn't be surprised if he did, that level of malevolence. But he certainly abused my love and trust. My inner child is devastated. She chooses bastard after bastard, then is surprised when they damage her. Decades of therapy later, vows to God to die rather than ever let a man do that to me again. Yet here I am, splendiferously, wild and ferociously showing my teeth. Erica, you old cunt, love you. You were right. You did know me. Another complex PTSD survivor always knows another. Ha ha ha. When I told my sister Angela what Erica had told me to attain to become, my sister would spit on Erica in the streets of Wellington as Erica unknowingly would approach Angela to say hello. She missed my mother and me. We were always kind and tolerant of her. Angela, both a survivor of child sexual abuse and a paedophile enabler herself when it became my turn, had no fucking right to stand on her elitist, principled tippy toes and judge any other woman. The biggest, most defunct cunt that ever lived, who sold me out for the final time in the will dispute, then declared me dead, vapid cunt. Well, dead sisters don't cry. Also, we can only die for real once. I have come so close to death so many times in my early childhood and in my 30s and 40s, hell, even last year at 50, that really on again in 2022 with that bad chest infection that wasn't COVID and I wasn't given proper treatment for, by the way. And really, being dead is a prize, a luxury I shall taste like the best chocolate in the world. Move on, cunties. Nothing to see here. And my friend on Facebook, Gillian Kay, wrote, however hard it is, Tanya, the only way is to try and let go of the past and say good riddance. There is some good out there. We just have to keep looking. It's great knowing you because you, unlike so many, are true. Thank you, Gillian, for those kind words. And I replied, thanks, Gillian. The past is hard to avoid. It keeps slapping me like a wet fish. But yes, it has made me whom I am today. Authentic, determined, loving, strong, sometimes powerful, sometimes vulnerable, but real. I had a very intense dream before I wrote this about my mother and, of all people, Princess Caroline of Monaco, the daughter of Grace Kelly. My mind comes up with some fascinating conflagrations. I forgot to put my rubbish out again. Oh well, never mind. I just debriefed the dream with Jared and realised the Monaco connection is related to the casino. So my mind is not very original and throws up imagery from my current and past experiences. Lol. Some of my dreams would make great TV shows though. She wrote, "We can never irradiate the past." Oh, that's a typo, she meant eradicate the past. But you are absolutely right, Tanya. Your past has made you into who you are today. It is amazing how our minds work and what they throw out and working out their relevances. I find it usually happens first thing in the morning as I wake up. You definitely have journalistic skills. She's a very kind woman. Haha, 3:33 p.m. Just woke up. I ate breakfast, then lay down on the bed and passed out for another 4 hours. So hot today too. I needed the sleep though. 7 hours sleep is not enough and causes a weird sort of mania, hence all the working in the garden yesterday. Time to get up and drink heaps of water to replenish my desiccated old husk of a body and flush out whatever is aggravating my stomach. Which, by the way, speaking of flushing out and aggravated stomachs, will go and take my tablet because I'm supposed to take it at 10 and it's already 10:11. So I remembered and then I forgot and then I remembered just in time. So this is where we're at, people of Earth. Mama T back on fucking medications, which I'm not happy about. So I was medication free except for my Ventolin, Seretide and my vitamins. I was medication free since 2016. So this to me, this shit to me feels like failure and also a waste of time as it's not working. Day 39 we're up to, by the gods. Making the same mistake over and over again without receiving different results is insanity, by the way, people. I'll be telling my urologist that when I see her. And she's young and she's not quite used to my unique personality. So I'm sure she'll find that a little bit triggering. Poor love. She's a very good doctor, a very sweet person. But most doctors don't like me because I'm intelligent and I'm obstreperous and I'm defiant. And I know what is and is not working after 39 days. It's conclusively not working. It's had a month and 9 days to resolve the issues. I am holding larger volumes during the night. Last night I wasn't though. Last night I was getting up for smallish amounts. So it's a bit weird, people. I'm a walking, very unique piece of plumbing these days. vitamin D, vitamin D and folic acid for my hyperhomocystinemia that was gifted me by Terry Rosilio and Gila Rosalie, and their constant fucking threats for 18 months when I lived with my small children behind his house, which I moved there in good faith thinking he was okay. Even though I was raised by narcissists and psychopaths and fucking predatory, sexual fucking pedophiles and animals, I was still unable to judge properly the true hearts and minds of other mortals. I think I've gotten better at it now that I'm older and had years of therapy, but by the gods, I'm always astonished at how I've been sucked in by creatures. Demonic, hell-ridden, filthy, predatory creatures, which is why I do not compromise on those types. The second I see you being abusive or cruel, I know you're not for me, babies. Absolutely not for me. Right, where were we? Beauregard with his little girlfriend Tess. Oh, I actually feel sick. It's the water. They chase each other and snap at each other. It's only fascination, my dears, reminiscent of my love affairs. You're unforgettable in every way. Oh, some of them are so fucking forgettable. In fact, I forgot quite a few of them now. Thank the gods. Thank the gods I forgot some of them completely. There he is playing with little Tess. Sweet little puppy. Right. I'm going to get a fan. It's too hot. The fan's usually in my bag, but anyway, I've got another one somewhere. Where is it? This one. My beautiful friend Margot bought this for me. Isn't it lovely? It's a very large fan, so it's beautiful, but it's a bit big to take to the club with me. I tell you what, whew, makes a beautiful breeze. I could put the air conditioning on, but I had the air conditioning on all day and all night yesterday and the night before, and I just feel like having fresh air. But oh, I'm so hot, sweating. Oh yes. Yes, Gaga. She bought it for me, she said, because it's got the galaxy. She knows how much I love magic and astronomy and science. And not that I'm a scientist, but you know, I had this crazy guy that I met one time at Lefties, actually kept screaming, "Galaxy, galaxy." I told her this story and we laughed so much. So she literally bought me a fan with the galaxies on it. It's just delightful. It's how I know But she actually listens to my stories and takes them on board too, which I find also delightful when people actually have gleaned something positive or something edifying from my stories, which are by and large always true, people. Yes, painful but true. Bobo keeps dragging in dead cane toads, missing eyes and legs. Ooh. I worry the carcasses still are poisonous, so I kick them away. The crows must be killing the odd one. And my friend Kellyanne, who is indeed a scientist, sent me an article. The biological effects, including lethal toxic ingestion caused by cane toads. Try to stop him getting to them if at all possible. Can he stay indoors at night? Cane toads be ridiculously toxic. Probably contributed to him getting splenal mass. That and the Bravecto I was giving him. Evil fucking stuff. Evil stuff. He got immediately ill after I gave him the first dose of that, and he would keep refusing it, so I didn't realise that it was a contributing factor, but I believe it was now. Anyway, ironically the vets are still selling that product, so they're knowing that it's potentially dangerous to dogs. What the fuck? But there you have it. This is our world. They will keep poisoning you right up in your face. And then when your animals die, tell you it's kind of your fault because you trusted them and bought their products and fed it to your animals. Well, I guess it is your fault for being stupid and gullible and trusting, Tanya. Anyway, the cane toads might have been part of it too, who knows. I did stop him though. I replied, yes, I have to cull my toad hall that lives under the concrete path and has built a tunnel from the side of the house all the way up to the back path. I hate to do it, but I worry one of them will kill Beauregard. Also, they are pests. Kellyanne wrote, holy smokes, don't feel bad about it. It's unfortunate, but the cane toad has no place in Australia. You'll be doing all the local wildlife and any local pets a massive favour. I do understand the hesitation to take a life, but those things have like a gazillion babies each, and a bit of an exaggeration, and even eating the tadpoles can kill an animal. I replied, yeah, I have to buy table salt in bulk, which I did. I bought pool salt. But I just lost the nerve to kill them the last year or so. Saw a little baby one on my back lawn the other day. And I was just like, oh, hopefully the crows take you. The crows seem to keep them down a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. I have this whole garden. My sacred space garden is an ecosystem, actually. No poison. That's why I had that little lady beetle the other day. I won't put poisons down on my land. It's been too much poison put down on this land. I had too many birth defects from guinea pig babies and kittens when I first moved here. It was just awful. Awful. And you know, my daughters and I, all our health spoiled under the first 10, 15 years that I lived here. I mean, I'm not really better. Look at the state of my bladder. But I'm better in other ways. I slowly did improve. 11:45 a.m. Not long awake. Tummy still feels like a coffee grinder. Headspace much clearer. Just need to reintegrate from the astral state to the physical. Only 7 hours sleep yesterday and last night, so quite tired. Heart, feeling less shell-shocked. Duct tape, makeup, sexy clothes and a big attitude helps kick away the desolate debris. The zombie is back in her power. Prepare for epic wildness and increased doses of don't give a fuck and don't fuck with me. Some nice man came up to me where I was sitting on the stage. He waved me over like a lapdog. I ignored him. Then he stepped closer and put out his hand. I ignored him. My Asian friend was watching and motioned for me to dance with him. I shook my head. I said, he has to use his words and ask me properly. So he asked. I got up to dance. He said, you look so beautiful, much better standing up than sitting down. You should not wait for a man to ask you to dance and just do it. I said, thank you, but I am an independent woman. I never wait for any man to dance. Then I pointed out my silver 6-inch high heels. I get tired stomping around on stilts. I am, after all, an old woman. He laughed. His friend leapt on top of me like a blundering idiot Labrador. Without missing a beat, I shoved him off me with my right hand. The guy who asked me to dance said, wankers everywhere. I replied, yes, it would appear so, but this wanker is your friend. He's no friend of mine. I smiled. A blatant lie. They had a little conference. Jumper came over to me. That man is a bloody legend. That's nice, I replied. My suitor returned. Your friend tells me you are a bloody legend, but I have to inform you that legends don't have wankers for friends. Legend stated, you are so right. I rolled my eyes. Yes, I am often right, which is really quite painful. I remember those two guys now. I refer to them as the grey wolves because the one that wanted to dance with me had very long grey hair. He was a good-looking man, but they acted like just schoolboys. I can't deal with that level of uncouth, predatory, schoolboyish behaviour. I just can't deal with it. But they were funny. He wandered off to tell Bouncy One, who has physically leapt onto my person before. They laugh, then scratch their heads. Yup, Wankers United meeting. Legend circles the room, wooing other contenders, then returns to me. Hey, he says like we just met. Hey, I say back, feigning enthusiasm. He was okay. We danced again. Herb, dressed in his spectacular gold-coloured suit, did huge African-American pirouettes in my line of vision to make sure I saw his enthusiasm, that I was there, and also competing with Legend. It was hilarious. I mean, I almost have to cry. Oh, some of the things that used to happen at the Live Wire Bar were just hilarious. Like watching circus clowns fight over a balloon. Me being the stomach-achy, tired, sore-footed, cynical old ball bag, and the three men being the clowns, wankers, legends. Herb, also not one to use his words, gestured to me if I wanted drink. I did want one, but I am annoyed with him and his antics, so I shrugged. He approached Karen, who hated him, by the way. She hated everybody in that casino, really. She was my cock blocker, to be honest. She was always sneering and glaring and It's almost like good cop, bad cop, except we're not cops. But it was that kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Oh, she was a pain in the ass sometimes. But I was fond of her. He approached Karen, who held up her hand to tell him to step back. He was terrified of my tiny, bolshy, 5'1" Irish warrior princess, so he ran off. Yeah, she was frightened of her, Herb. It's quite astonishing. The man was a giant. He was a big man. He was very tall and big, African American, you know, had a lot of style, dressed in cheap polyester suits, but he'd bling them up and make them look ostentatious. But he had a lot of style. But he was scared of my friend Karen. I'll never understand why, really. Anyway, he then danced in my periphery, constantly hamming to songs as I do. The Proclaimers came on. Methinks they proclaim too much, as in, I will walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 more. Keep proclaiming, boys. Herb turns, points to me, waves his whole body around. I would walk 500 miles. Delivery, passionate and wild. Louis Armstrong would be proud. He claimed to be the grandson of Louis Armstrong, which is kind of funny because Louis Armstrong never had children. Duh. But anyway, I just raised my left shoulder in half a shrug of contemptuous disillusionment. Over it. He gave up after that. Sweet lunatic, but another non-verbal communicator. Thinks he can use me like so many others. I am not here for your entertainment, even if it is amusing to watch the estrus and the testosterone games. As my mother, former mother, used to sing, I am so glad I am not young anymore. "2:29 a.m, home early, terrible stomach pain. Feels like early labour. That's how much pain I was in. Jesus. Which is even more disturbing that I still remember that after 30 years. I had a lovely time dancing with Karen. We laughed a lot, but in the end, my guts ached and my feet hurt, and I am tired after a productive day, so it was time to head home. The house is so peaceful. I checked on the ponds and they are clearing up nicely. I can already see the bottom. I put the little mirror I made as an homage to La Sirène in the top of the little waterfall. Hopefully she is pleased. I know I certainly am happy with the shift in energy. Once my tummy pains get sorted, I will be in a much happier space. 28th of February 2015, laughing my ass off. The Irish Viking women are going out. Well, I'm only 1/32 Irish. On my great-great-great-grandfather Thomas Phillips, who came out from Dublin, Ireland, via Sheerness, Kent, Bluetown, Sheerness, Kent. Caught the sailing ship out to New Zealand then. But Karen is indeed born in Ireland. So she's a bona fide Irish woman, and I'm only a little tiny smidgen. However, do not conflagrate my ancient Irish temper. That's a force to be reckoned with. It's no accident that my Psychiatrist jokes that I'm the living incarnation of Boadicea. Was Boadicea Irish? She was an Icenian queen. I wonder, was Icenia in Ireland or in Scotland? I don't know exactly which lands Iceni traversed, but somewhere in Britain anyway. Karen is back in the land of the wild and the free, hanging out with me. It always inspires the wildness and the freedom fighting people to hang out with me. I had a life of hell, so I know what hells are capable of doing to a person's soul. So every day, in every way, I'm a freedom fighter, by energy and by words and by my wild shamanic dance. 10:54 p.m. I slept all day thanks to the Valium and Seroquel. Now I feel much better emotionally. Karen came back from Wet and Wild absolutely knackered. Not much sleep and dancing with me last night. So we are going to stay home tonight. My feet and ankles hurt too much anyway. I did well dancing at all last night. The flat docks supported my fragile ankles better. I am glad I got to move my body. I needed it. And here's a photo of the pussies I used to come home to after my wild nights of dancing, but not dominatrixing, which would have at least given me plenty of money. Auntie Erica would be up there going, foolish girl. But I had a former friend named Sarah Burt. I usually refer to her as Creature, who told everyone that I was a natural dominatrix and had them all in her thrall with that. Probably I am, as Auntie Erica had stated. I know you, Tanya. She knew my fierce warrior goddess spirit and my freedom fighting and my desire to thrive and, at barest minimum, to survive. But you know what? I don't enjoy torturing people. I don't actually enjoy being cruel to other people. So, although I probably could have made a lot of money as a dominatrix had I had proper training, there's something sordid and kind of desperate and sad about it. You know? It's just having men slavishly crawl at my feet actually kind of sickens me, and I vomit a little bit in my mouth. I can't do it. I don't think I could do it. You know, it'd be funny for about 5 minutes, and then I'd have to try not to turn savage, you know. And you have to be a professional. You have to know how far to go so that you're not actually really harming someone with that. It is a trade. It is a skill. My psychiatrist thought it would be a good thing for me to do at one time because he said it would probably help heal some of my childhood traumas, number one. A lot of those people in that BDSM movement do work out their traumas that way. But and he said that because I'm a kind person with a lot of empathy and compassion, that I would know how far to go and I wouldn't actually be trying to actually really seriously harm anyone, which is true. I'm not out to harm anyone. But I just thought, no, it's too degrading. It's too fucking degrading. Degrades my own spirit, my own ethics, to be a respectable, honourable woman standing in my own goddess energy and my own power. If I have to kick someone or, demean someone, that's not fun for me, because I already lived that way throughout my entire childhood, being kicked and thrown into walls and sexually predated on. It's not my bag, people. And people like Sarah Burt, who turned so savage on me, and Dave, who was in that scene too, that BDSM pathetic fucking scene, they're actually weak people. They are weak. Auntie Erica, who bragged about going home to her pussies, so she had peace, but she was rolling in money after torturing high court judges and priests and lawyers and policemen, you name it, because they all have that fetish, is that they're working out their traumas and their sadism, sadomasochism. But she would cry every Christmas. She would ring us up, my mother and I, even after we moved here to Australia in 1988. For quite some years, she would ring at Christmas Eve, the German Christmas. Mum would say, "Oh, Gott Mensch, it's Auntie Erica again, crying with loneliness because she was a dominatrix all her life, and yet here she is in old age alone with no one to love her." My mother, the sadist, getting off on that, by the way. Mum, "What's the matter, Erica? Why are you alone again at Christmas?" The dominatrix being dominatrix by the supreme dominatrix of narcopathy and evil, my mother. And so it goes round and round and round and round on a circle going nowhere, on the same groove of hell loop. I realised then, Auntie Erica, the poor fuck, all she had left was money and a lifetime of loneliness after her sick lifestyle, which to my mind is a bit sick. So this is how my enemy's creature and Dave will ultimately end up too. Because the gods are capricious, but they have a delightful sense of the absurd. Merry fucking Christmas, by the way. I mean, it's not Christmas, but it's when they rise up at Christmas time. I've just realised Dave always appears somewhere on the road near me or by me at Christmas Hanukkah time, right? There's no aphrodisiac like loneliness. You shouldn't leave me alone. There's no aphrodisiac quite like it. With a gun, toting trigger, happy tranny like Kitty Malone. Yes. When you live in sickness and despair, as you sow, so shall you reap, babies. Which is why I'm always trying not to despair, keeping my head clear, keeping myself safe from sexual predators like them and perverts and weak people, and living my best life. My new subscriber just stalked me again with yet another hello. He's getting annoying, people. You're getting annoying. So, he will be put on the psychedelic dreamers equivalent of ignore. He will be ignored. If you can't behave on my YouTube channel, you will be ignored people. No room for de mama on de bed, lol. Slowly, painfully, pulls one of the many halberds out of my back, stands up, bleeds out, turns. Get that for me, will you, Deirdre? Banshee laughter into the night. Freedom. 3:41 a.m. I had another memory while dancing of my beloved Dr. Eastwell telling me the very first time I experienced real happiness, that I should just enjoy having that bubble of pain bursting and get plenty of sleep and not fear happiness. He said to me that this society actually hates happiness. It tries to commit it or criminalize it. It feeds off despair and trauma and depression. And for the few souls that dare to strive to openly exhibit their true, well-deserved joy, then society will crush those free, happy spirits. He looked into my eyes. Oops. I put the fan on the keyboard and now we've jumped everywhere. Hang on a sec. Here we are. He looked into my eyes, my two decent psychiatrists. It's interesting, I almost said securitrists. They make me feel secure because they're so kind and nurturing and supportive. I need a partner like that, a lover man like that, a committed partnership like that. Isn't it ironic that the most committed partnerships in my life are paid for and are father figures and are nurturing, but are employed by the Australian government to protect and nurture me along, while at the same time I'm simultaneously tortured by the same Australian government. Oh, it's kind of ironic, but never mind. He looked deep into my eyes. My two decent psychiatrists have been my only true father figures. Real men with real heart and real soul and the education to back up, the wisdom and the education and the knowledge, right? To handle the Tanya. Oh, here he goes again. This dude's obsessed. Really obsessed. I'll have to see if I can somehow block him because I find that creepy, people. I really do. Then he said, after looking deep into my eyes, my elderly psychiatrist, Dr. Don Eastwell, has probably passed on by now. He was a wonderful man. He said to me, "Don't let them crush you. It is your turn to embrace life fully now." Gosh, it hit me hard. That was before the will dispute, I think, before my mother died, so 6 or 7 years ago. Well, if it was before my mother died. I actually think it was in 2009 when I burst that bubble in my psyche. 2009. Dr. Eastwell, I love you. You are probably passed over now, but I promise you I will continue to live in freedom and joy, and I will try very, very hard to never let them crush me. In memory of the beautiful soul, Harry Smith, Dr. Harry Smith, Nil carborundum et bastardos. Never let the bastards grind you down. He was my friend from my temple. In those days it was called Temple Shalom, or then it became Beit Knesset, and then it became BPJC, and now I think they call it Beit Or. But anyway, back in the day, I was very fond of Dr. Harry Smith. He was a very kind soul to me. Both he and Dr. Gordon Senator, or Associate Professor Gordon Senator, both taught me that witty little saying, nil carborundum et bastardos, to inspire me to hold on, right? Just to cleave me to life a little bit longer back in those days. That's how hanging by a thread I literally was. So I write, bring me Sleipnir, for tomorrow night we ride. Sleipnir is the 8-legged horse in Viking mythology. Hashem knows I love him first and best, but I also know there are many other gods and demigods, angels, elementals, and light beings who have fought to keep me alive, all aspects of the Holy One, all blessings. I'm very fucking lightheaded right now. I've been kept alive, but at what cost, right? What cost? Last night, after that foul creature in that group harassed me, I prayed for a resolution. I felt the warmth and the love of the Shekhinah surround me and soothe my soul, even though the distress brought havoc to my insides. Shekhinah is the feminine presence of God, by the way, in Kabbalah. I must be some kind of asshole to be hated so much, but I am blessed to have a few good people on my team. Lynn, Jared are my core family. He's also not taking my calls at the moment. What can you do? I would not still be here without your staunch, devoted love. You rock. It takes a village to raise a child, and it took several communities to utterly destroy a trauma survivor. But they haven't quite factored into the equation my spirit or my courage. Karma, natural justice, a real enduring love with true friends and decent people surrounding me, free of envy, sabotage, walls, blocks, impediments, toxicity, negativity. Be mine. Either dance beside me, love me as I love you, or fuck off. I wasted 50 years with traitors and holograms. I want authenticity now. 3 a.m. Steph, one of my casino and pub stalkers, but one of the few stalkers I actually like and treat as a friend, came up to me at the casino as I danced in my usual spot. I had a little spot there for 13 years until they harassed me out of the casino last year, which was vicious on their part, so fuck them. But anyway, 13 years I danced there, long, long time. He usually has very random trains of thought, so tonight I asked him if he had been to Irish Murphy's. He said, "Yeah, of course." I smiled. He said, "Are you off your cross yet from being crucified? Are you Jesus?" I said, "No, I can never be Jesus. But they did try to crucify me, all those lying, false, motherfucking friends I danced with and adored for 3 years. Lovely people." He said, "Well, did they let you off the cross yet?" I think by this he wondered in his usual random way if I was coming back. I said, "No, they can't get me on the cross, mate. I am a Jew. I won't be crawling into any caves for 3 days either. But I am a goddess of wrath and vengeance, and I curse that filthy, evil shithole for scapegoating me. I call upon Saint Bridget to deal with them," laughing my ass off. He said, "They all turned Judas on you then." I said, "Honey, I am worth way more than 40 pieces of silver. Those Judases know that they have unjustly betrayed me while I clutch them lovingly to my breast." Indeed, they do know that, don't they? I said, "Why you, Steph? You might be the biggest Judas of them all. You might be Judas Priest." And he said, "I am a dojo priest." So I laughed, then cleaned his aura, half jokingly, and said, "Now you have been blessed by a Jew." Oddly, the new DJ interrupted our conversation to ask me if I had requested a song last week. I said, "Darling, I never request songs, and by this time of the night you can observe that I am always sober. I like to keep control." A natural dominatrix after all. He laughed, asked me what I wanted him to play. I said, "Rock, very hard rock," and grinned mischievously. I looked around and Steph had run away into the night, as is his wont. He is actually a nice guy, in spite of his strange conversations. Oh dear goddess, he was usually fucking paralytic by the time he'd roll over from Irish Murphy's to come and see me at the casino. But yes, he was always hoping that I would come back to Irish Murphy's. So's my friend Morris, by the way. Don't you know you can never go back to the scene of a perfect crime? And I don't give my energy to cesspits of filth that totally destroyed me as a woman, by the way, to the point of almost suicide. You will never get me to dance in that space again, unless, of course, I receive a full written public apology and a lot of compensation. Just saying. Oh my goddess. Nah, I probably wouldn't even then. I'd be like, "Are you serious? Fuck off." You only get to destroy me 1,000 times. But after the 1,000th time, there will be retribution. Babies. Just then, Karen reminded me she has a big day tomorrow at Wet and Wild. Ow. So we staggered in great pain from dancing to my car, which thankfully was close by in William Street, so we didn't have our customary agonised crawl to Margaret Street, where I usually have to park and stare rather wistfully at the synagogue where a whole other life was lived. Sighs. Hashem was kind to me tonight. Hashem means God. Was kind to me tonight to let me have a close park, as I was in pain before we got there and in more pain after. Maybe dancing might loosen those angry tendons and muscles and arthritic joints. I guess I will find out tomorrow. So glad I lived to have some fun before I die. A Shehechianu. Amen. Laila Tov, good night. Shabbat from Shalom, Sabbath peace. From she who loves best and loses out anyway. The cascade of trauma continues, but my zest and fight for life remains. I think if I ever get my Viking funeral, I'd love that. I really would. It's illegal in Australia, but that is my ultimate funeral. Send me out in a longboat, set me on fire, and just let me burn down into the sea. My true father and mother. Or a Jewish one, or any other kind, I will get "fuck you" written on my funeral boat or on my gravestone. Defiant right to my end I shall be. Or, you tried to kill me, you won, let's eat, see you in paradise. Although originally I wanted to borrow from Spike Milligan, which says in teeny tiny writing, I told you I was sick, you bastards. It's true. It's so true. Ha ha. Alas for me, life goes on, kvetching into the void. That could be my title of my book. Kvetching into the void. It's an idea. I may percolate it, I may not. Yet to write my book. It's all laid out for you in vocal media and in here on YouTube from the readings that I have shared so far with you, right? It's all laid bare. That is my book. 2:28 a.m. I had a wonderful night dancing with the beautiful Karen at the casino. I wore docks as my feet and ankles still hurt from February 14th. Jesus. I can't bear, it was like almost 2 weeks later. I can't bear to take my boots off yet. Ouch. Karen is off to Wet and Wild, but when she comes back tomorrow night, we will be most likely crawling on our sore feet back into town. Oi. But we love it. 28th of February 2014. At the joint, enjoying the hip shooters. Awesome. 28th of February 2013. Awake, almost 9 hours sleep today. Good work. Yesterday was 12. Glad that my long bout of insomnia is coming to an end. It was great to reach resolution with my psychiatrist also. I need to be able to feel safe to process my life experiences with him. 2 years to build up a great therapeutic rapport is a huge investment, and I did not want to lose that. I am glad that he is a decent human being who has great compassion and unconditional love and understood my greatest fear had been triggered. To you, Brian. Meanwhile, I carry on, holding on to what is left of my mind, my joy, my resilience, my strength, and my ability to love, and continue with my healing journey and my quest for a safe, comfortable, happy, loving life. We're nearly finished, so I'll just ignore that, I think. I posted a meme 2013. The ones who can admit their faults are the ones who can change them. Tom White, walking my talk. And I responded with, it may be hard to change, but reaching acceptance of stuff we can't change, or the shit done to us that was not our fault, part of the healing. Love thyself, 'cause no one else is better qualified. And ain't that the truth? 28th of February 2011. I might plug in after all. Bloody hell. Oh, sorry about the old lady grunting. Still not having it. I just plugged you in, you mofo. Swear to God. Stop being difficult. That's how I talk to my machines. What hope have you got, people of Earth? This is why I don't go to work, people. I can't deal with incompetence, including my own. And yes, there were times even in my working life when I too was incompetent and not coping with severe mental health issues, so it got a little bit embarrassing at times. 28th of February 2011. This is the price I paid from my childhood, by the way. The damage that was wrought to my life and why I still remain in poverty to this day. And yes, it's fucked, completely, utterly fucked. But it is what it is. 28th of February 2011. I am happy today in spite of the fact that my lawyer lied to me and promised to phone me this arvo after the teleconference with a barrister who has been briefing my case. It just makes me so annoyed when they let me down like this. I guess he will ring me tomorrow, and if I don't hear by the afternoon tomorrow, I will have to phone him. Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Oh, they're mercenary, they really are. Happiness and beneficence equals gratitude. Happiness is the Creator from whom all creation is manifested moment by moment, and as well as the entire universe, created the humans, wildlife, and environment, who in his infinite awesomeness created a human of such generosity and beneficence that I have been the humble and very grateful recipient of much love, kindness, and a brand new working washing machine, which arrived this morning and is now happily cleaning clothes for me. I am so honoured by this anonymous person whose gift of love and goodness reminds me that God is truly great and that there is abundance for all, everything in its season and appointed times. Whomever you are, your wealth has been a blessing to me. May you always remain wealthy, not just in monetary ways, but in the richness of your spirit. The people whose lives you have blessed with your gifts of charity in this most practical way are grateful and honoured that you have shared with us all. May we all, in our own way, be able to pay forward the generosity we have been given in our times of great need. Amen. Thank you to Hashem. Thank you to his servant, my benefactors. Thank you for those who stand with me, are happy for me, and wish me well. And thank you to those who were so kind as to make this all possible. Thank you. And I had a response from a friend, a former friend in those back in the day, Michelle Sklow Stevens, whom I knew as Michelle Briner, and sometimes I still dream of her. True. Use it in good health, Tanya. You are blessed to have a supportive, generous person in your life. I am indeed, and the highest manifestation of this charity, according to Maimonides, is that I have no idea who the person is. Could have been her for all we know. Wouldn't that be a riot? Even so, the thank you remains the same, equally blessed. I am very honoured indeed to be graced with such generosity from a stranger. Monday's child is full of grace, or summit like that. I spent the afternoon juicing guavas so I might make sorbet or something from the pulp. Gail and Talia came to visit and helped with the smushing and tipping and squeezing. Talia really enjoyed herself. Then I set up my new worm farm, the one I got for free from the curbside collection last month, with new worms I bought today, which Lynn was kind enough to pick up for me on her way over for a visit. Then I watered the garden and took Bella for a short walk around the block. I also did 2 loads of washing in my new machine. A very good day indeed. I feel a bit tired after all the activity. I've also started filling up the tumbleweed composter that Mavis and Mervyn gave me with all the weeds I've been pulling out and letting dry out and rot, so that will be in full production now. I'm so excited about my earthworms. Yes, I'm a gardener. Can you tell? $29.95 for 1,200, and at Bunnings they want almost $60 for the same amount. I am so glad I thought to shop around. I mean, earthworms shouldn't be that expensive, surely. I hope I am successful at keeping them alive and well fed, so I can get as many as possible to keep my garden well fertilised. I know it takes about 3 months to get them to breed and multiply. I am as happy as a pig in well-turned earthworm compost, lol. I finally put the sack I bought at Reverse Garbage a few years ago, which had been hanging uselessly on my front porch ever since, to good use as a worm farm blanket, which I discovered they eat through the hemp flour sacks far too quickly. So I now use old woolen blankets, which have been there for years and are still going strong. Cut up old woolen blankets. Just a little tip for those of you that keep worm farms. I also made some lovely iced coffees to drink, so Lynn and later Gail, when she arrived, and I really enjoyed it. I think I've had too much caffeine though, sort of buzzing and ready for action, lol. I hope I don't end up grinding my teeth and suffering insomnia tonight. I have been so busy today, I haven't had a proper breakfast or lunch or even dinner. No wonder I feel a bit peckish right now. I had 3 ice creams I bought from the home ice cream vendor this morning. That was pretty delicious, but now I think I need some protein and carbs, lol. But don't worry, I can live on ice cream equally as happily till my bowels say otherwise. Or maybe not, as the ice creams, as well as the lashings of ice cream and the iced coffees, might just be my full calorific value for today. Not that I ever watch calories. Just come up with a free antivirus, which I no longer have. I've bought premium antivirus, and I still get hassled by the free one. It's driving me nuts too. But anyway, first world problems owning a laptop, right? It's not really important in the broad scheme of things. It's just an irritant. Like having a splinter put under your skin and left there. 28th of February 2010. Been a horrendously stressful time, but something we all have to go through ourselves one day. My only wish when my time comes is that I will be surrounded by all my favourite and most compassionate and loving people then. Interestingly, when I told my daughter I felt I was dying last September, she abandoned me. Well, that's good, because she's not compassionate and loving, and I won't want her at my deathbed. It's funny how you find these things out ahead of time, though. Thank you, Hashem, and your infinite wisdom, showing me who truly does love me and respect me as a person. Not my daughters. It's evil is what it is. It's such a slow, painful and traumatic process, and everyone deserves as much love as possible in their final hours and or days. My sister has returned to New Zealand, not coming back for the funeral, and I very much doubt if I will see her again for a long time, and I can update that too, ever. Meanwhile, Mum is still in the land of the living, keeping comfortable on the morphine infusion and being moved back to Moreton Bay Nursing Care Unit tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will go to see her tomorrow. Update. My neck hurts today. Update. She died on 7th of March 2010. I asked her spirit to not die on the 6th of March, my father's birthday, as she had hated him so much so needed her own day. She avoided dying on the 8th of March, her mother Eva's suicide date. I missed her death by 10 minutes as the staff did not call me in time. They had instructions to call me, but quite maliciously left it until the last minute. No one to greet me at the door. They really were fucking evil too. I ran through the facility and into my mother's room to discover her corpse with a pretty flower beside her head that a staff member had placed there. I had been there every day and tried to be there for her transition. I was utterly furious that they did not call me in time. It takes 20 minutes to drive to Wynnum. They would have known she was going to die hours earlier. Ultimately, though, my mother died alone, and maybe that was what her spirit wanted after all. We come alone and we go alone. Love distorted and contorted by abusers and trauma. Is it even really love? I had been in a state for several weeks before her death. Literally felt like I was dying with her. So strong was her telepathic pull on my energy. Even one of the nurses had noticed it. Your mother is a powerful woman. My mother, my monster. And that pull she had on me lasted long after her death. She's been dead 14 years, and it really only started, that constant drawing on my energy, dragging me literally to hell with her. It really only ended about 4 years ago in 2020. It's just suddenly just kind of drifted away. And that was a small mercy, because I had the fight of the COVID epoch from 2020 on, and my own serious health issues, and that constant battling and struggling on social media, speaking out against it all. And but I did fight prior to that, when my mother was still drawing on my energy too, on the issues of child sexual abuse prior to that, from about 2013. So there was a lot of low-level entity oppression and psychic vampirizing, including in that love affair with Dave Charles and that former friendship with Sarah Burt. There were a lot that were feeding on me during that most vulnerable time period of my life. So, is it any wonder that I'm deeply relieved that they have all finally sloughed the fuck off? And only really since Beauregard's death 6 months ago have I witnessed people lighting up for me with true affection and care and friendship, and dare I even hope true love towards me. So things have finally shifted and uplifted, but it took 13 and a half years after my mother's death for that to finally, I guess, over time be purified and cleansed. It was indeed a demonic oppression for many, even while she was alive, people. For many, many years, decades. So I'm so grateful and joyous and humbled to finally have peace in my life, and be surrounded by people who genuinely do respect and honour and love me. February 28th, 1996. Decree Nisi with Michael Aarons. The day I got my freedom from that man. A harrowing, and isn't it ironic that it coincided with Case's birthday? He had died in 25th of November 1995. My divorce came through on his birthday. Do you see how the spirits weave and weft all the threads of our life together? Sometimes we're not even barely conscious of it. But if you look at what I have recorded here, you see the little threads pulling tightly together. Other times unraveling as I let it all fucking go. A harrowing day in court, watching the presiding judge ruin the lives of every woman that day. 26th of February 1996. I've forgotten the judge's name, but he was a bastard, and now I've put it out in my public video. I hope someone in the government takes the time to go through the records, find out the name of that judge that day, and have a good long look at how many women's lives were ruined on that particular day. No doubt how many others he ruined in his entire fucking career. He's probably dead by now. He was an old man then. I'd like to see that cunt shut down permanently. I hope he's writhing in a small corner of hell for what he did to all the women in that courtroom that day. It was about 20 of us. Fucking arsehole he was. When my turn came, I was last on the list. I confronted him on his misogyny and abuses, systemic abuses, as I had carefully watched his interactions all day long. I said, I watched you utterly destroy the lives of woman after woman after woman. Even the millionaire lady with her eager young lawyer wanting a test case. You treated them with utter contempt. Now, what fragile hope can I, already driven into abject poverty, expect from such a man as you? His wig literally slipped sideways. He sat quietly in shock for a few moments. You can go for disclosure, fraud, another court case. Yeah. I can't afford more lawyers or risk more misogynistic, foul judges. But I was happy to have my decree, Nisi at least. Nisi or Nisi? Final divorce papers. I came home to Lynn's house. She had surprised me with a huge mud bath in her backyard. I put on my togs, it means swimsuit, and we all played in the mud with our children, laughing and squealing in happiness. I said, Lynn, nothing can be more dirty than that courtroom. She said, I know. That's why I wanted you to de-stress by playing with the kids in the mud, grounding and earthing. My wise beautiful friend knew I needed that. And thus concludes today's readings of Even Date, and it's a long video, 2 hours and 49 minutes and counting. And I'm very tired and wrung out, and it's a beautiful day, so I'm going to make a cup of tea, fossick something to eat, go and spend some time with my beautiful Charlie bird in the garden. And yes, greetings, salutations from Titania's realm, the fairy realm, and from sacred space, my sacred space garden and home here. May you be blessed, may you have joy, and may the new sweet stalker that just entered my life via my YouTube platform this morning settle himself back down a little bit, my darling. Love is the law, but curb your enthusiasm. I abhor stalkers, by the way, so be a gentleman, be polite, control your urges. Bye for now.